You know, there are some vehicles in certain segments that are completely forgettable, and the Kia Sorento was definitely always one of them. I mean, when was the last time you actually thought about a Sorento? Well, all that's about to change drastically as Kia keeps killing it with their new lineup. My name is Omar, and today I'm test driving the 2021 Kia Sorento. So there is no doubt that we love our SUVs and crossovers. Seems like everybody wants to buy one. Kia has a total of 6 SUVs and crossovers in its lineup if you count the Soul, which is weird because I wouldn't, but if you go to Kia's website, the Soul is classified under SUVs and crossovers. So there's that. Either way, we're really starting to push it now. Not only does everybody want SUVs, they want SUVs with 3 rows, and automakers seem to be giving in. One of my absolute favorite 3-row SUVs at the current moment is the Kia Telluride. It is an outstanding option in this segment. However, the 2021 Kia Sorento also has a 3rd row now that it absolutely doesn't need, and we'll take a closer look at that later, but that's probably the only thing I don't like about the new Sorento. That being said, let me give you a tour of the 2021 Kia Sorento, then I'll give you my opinion on what I think about it. But before I do, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like. All right, let's do this. Now, as always, before we get into everything else, let's take a look at some of the cool and interesting things that you should know about the 2021 Kia Sorento. Let's take a look. Now, whoever at Kia is working on the animations and sounds of their interiors definitely deserves a raise, because once you open the door, get inside, and close it, you'll have a nice animation play. That is super cool. And when you're done driving your Kia Sorento and turn it off, you'll also have a cool animation play once you open the door. I love this. Speaking of animations, they don't stop there. So I recently tested the Kia K5 GT, and for some reason that won't get the brand's new digital gauge cluster display until the next model year, but the Sorento SX Prestige has it now. Kia calls this the Super Vision Meter Cluster Display, which is funny to me because Kia loves naming things in a very odd way. I have it in accessory mode right now. That's why you see all the check engine lights that are on. Don't comment anything crazy, but basically this is a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster display with some very cool information and very cool animations. Check out what happens when I circle through the drive modes. This is snow, which I'm in right now. When you go to Eco, it does that cool animation. Comfort looks like that. Sport definitely looks the best. It looks like you're about to go crazy. Then you have Smart, and if you look closely in Eco, the fonts also change numbers. It's very smooth and very crisp. I like this a lot. And the SX Prestige also has the blind spot camera, which I find insanely useful. When you signal left, the left side of the gauge cluster shows your left side of the camera, and the right side shows your right side blind spot. That is very convenient and very cool, and I wish more automakers would put this in their cars. But yeah, this cool gauge cluster display is one of the benefits of picking the Sorento over the Telluride, because the Telluride just has an analog gauge cluster with the middle being somewhat digital, but this one is much cooler. Now, in my last few Genesis and Honda reviews, I've shown you the smart trunk feature, which allows you to pop open the trunk just by holding the key anywhere close to the back, which is pretty convenient, right? Well, while messing around with the infotainment settings, I found another interesting feature that I thought I should point out. So first, you can set the height of the tailgate at which it opens. You can have a full open, level 3, level 2, level 1. The thought here is that you can set the height so it doesn't hit the top of your garage, but you can also adjust the speed at which the tailgate opens. You can have it fast or slow. Let's check it out. Here's the tailgate opening at a fast speed. Pretty quick. Let's check out slow. I would probably keep it on fast because this is pretty slow for me, but that's cool that you have that option. Now we'll get into talking about the exterior design a little bit later, but let's discuss what this X line is all about. The new Sorento is available in a various amount of trims, including LX, S, EX, SX, and SX Prestige. The SX Prestige has a package available on top of that called X Line for $2,000, and that will offer you a little bit more rugged looks and a little bit more off-road capability. The X Line package will give you an extra inch of ground clearance for a total of 8.3 inches. You'll get better approach and departure angles. You'll get an all-wheel drive system with a center locking differential and downhill descent control. And then you'll also get some rougher and cooler exterior design touches, including a cooler bumper, 20-inch alloy wheels, and a bridge-type roof rack that makes this thing look a little bit rougher and a little bit tougher. And finally, the new Sorento also comes with the brand's new infotainment system, and depending on which model you go for, you can get it with a 10.25-inch touchscreen display. Now, I've talked in length about this system many times in my other Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia reviews, so you can go check those out. I'll link some of them below. But let's do a quick rapid fire session of some of the cool things that you can find in here. Just like the Hyundai Palisade, the Kia Telluride, and the Genesis GV80, the Sorento also gets passenger talk, which will use the front microphone to amplify your voice through the rear speakers so the third row passengers can hear you better. But come on, nobody in the Sorento is that far away that they can't hear you. But let's just hit talk now. And now my voice is amplifying into the third row because the third row passengers apparently are so far away that they can't hear me, but that's not true. Now, if you're a parent buying the Sorento for your family vehicle, you will enjoy something called quiet mode, which will move all the media being played into the front, and all volume levels will be set to 7. You can't go beyond 7, so your kids in the back can sleep nice and quietly, and you can still enjoy some music. And just like every other Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis model, you also have sounds of nature, which will play some ambient sounds so you don't have crazy road rage. Snowy Village sounds like a bunch of serial killers coming to kill you. So just stick to warm fireplace. If you're having road rage, play this and you'll just be chill and calm. Now, you also get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard, but keep in mind, if you want wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, you can only get it on the base 8-inch touchscreen display. If you upgrade to this 10.25-inch display, you don't get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, which I find absolutely insane. Next up, let's talk about pricing. Pricing for the 2021 Kia Sorento starts at $29,390 for the base LX model. The SX Prestige, the top of the line model, starts at $40,590. As tested here, looking at $44,285. Again, my test model here is a SX Prestige with the X-Line Appearance Package. Now, if you don't want to drop a ton of money on an SX Prestige, you can start at the S model for around $32,000, but the SX and the SX Prestige is where it's at. So my test model comes with these beautiful perforated genuine leather seats that are heated and ventilated. You also get a heated steering wheel to keep your hands warm, and you also get second row captain chairs. Then you have the really cool digital gauge cluster display, a 10.25-inch touchscreen display with navigation, a 12-speaker Bose sound system, which sounds really nice actually, and then you also get a 360 view camera and a bunch of driver assist tech. And I have to say, Hyundai and Kia's lane keeping system is probably one of the best in the industry. It really keeps you centered in the lane when you have it activated. Now let's talk horsepower and torque. My test model here is powered by a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine, making 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Now, this is the same engine that you find in the Kia K5 GT and the Hyundai Sonata N-Line, and it's mated to an 8-speed wet dual-clutch transmission, and that makes this Sorento very, very fun to drive. Now, we're not talking Kia K5 GT fun, but 0 to 60 comes in at 6.5 seconds, which is pretty impressive, and you have a top speed of 131 miles an hour, so that's not bad at all. Now, fuel economy wise, you get 21 city and 28 highway. You have a 17.7 gallon tank capacity. I'm averaging, after a couple of days of driving, a total of 18.7 miles a gallon. Not that bad, but not that great either. Now let's take a closer look at the exterior design of the new Sorento, because it is about 10,000 times better than the outgoing model. Now, there is no doubt that Kia has been killing it when it comes to the exterior design of their vehicles, and the Sorento is the latest one to get the stylish upgrade. Kia already has the Telluride as its flagship 3-row SUV, but the Sorento is being called the baby Telluride, as it also gets a tough and brawny look. You obviously have the Tiger Nose signature grille, and depending on the model you go for, you get full LED headlamps with these stylish LED daytime running lights, which look really cool. Unfortunately though, you don't get the cool amber layout for the daytime running lights like you do on the Telluride or the K5, except for this tiny amber accent here. Wish the whole daytime running light was in amber color. I think that's a really cool look. Then in the back, it looks really rough and tough, and I really like the design of the taillights, but I'm sure it's pissing off Ford Mustang designers quite a bit. And of course, this X-Line package here makes it look a little tougher, and I like the color a lot, which is exclusive to the X-Line package, and it's called Aruba Green. That's a very nice color. Now, before we move on, let's check out the cargo capacity, but I do want to point out, you don't see a rear wiper anywhere here on the back windshield. That's because the rear wiper has been hidden right down there. That is a very cool placement to keep it hidden and keep this design in the back very, very clean. By the way, I find it much easier just to pop open the tailgate by using the button instead of the smart key feature, because that could take a minute, but behind the third row, you have basically nothing. As you can see, I can only fit a couple of things. My camera equipment's right there in the duffel bag. You have a total of 12.6 cubic feet, and with the third row folded, which you can simply do just like that, you have 38.5 cubic feet. And to fold the second row, you don't have to walk around because you have automatic release buttons right here for the right and for the left. And once you get that folded, you have 78.6 cubic feet. So you have plenty and plenty of space. Now let's hop inside and check out the interior because, again, it's leaps and bounds better than the outgoing model. Again, I'm really proud of what Kia has been doing with their cars as of recent. Their interiors are definitely becoming one of the best in the segment in terms of design and in terms of quality. By the way, it smells really, really nice in here. Almost smells like a high-end luxury car. Obviously, since my test model here is the top-of-the-line model costing more than $44,000, it's much nicer in here. You have soft touch materials, fake leather wrapped on the dash here. Above the steering wheel, you have a nice soft touch material here. You have soft touch materials right here on the door, fake leather over here. Then you have some hard plastic over here, which is expected for a model in this segment and in this price range. My test model has these beautiful perforated and quilted leather seats that are extremely, extremely comfortable. The second tier S trim starting at $31,890 will give you fake leather seats, and starting at that trim, you also get heated front seats as standard. Hop in the second row and you're welcomed by 41.7 inches of rear legroom. I'm about 6 foot tall, that's my seating position. As you can see, I still have plenty of room. And like most SUVs and crossovers, you can slide the second row forward and back if you want some more room. If you want second row captain chairs like the one you see here, you will have to go for the EX trim or above, but overall, the second row here is pretty nice and pretty comfortable. To get into the third row, you just push this button located right here, and the second row will slide forward, giving you a passageway to enter. So let's climb back here and see what you're working with. Again, I'm about 6 foot tall, so I don't expect it to be comfortable at all. You have 29.6 inches of legroom, and the seating is super low. As you can see, my legs are pointing up, my knees are pointing up. It's pretty uncomfortable back here for somebody my height. Maybe somebody shorter will enjoy a short trip, but I'm gonna get out of here by pushing that button and getting out. Now, before I give you my opinion on how it is to drive the 2021 Kia Sorento, let me point out a few random things that I'll have to show all of you. You have 6 cup holders, 2 for the front passengers, and then you have 2 in the back for the second row passengers with a very cool placement on the doors, 1 right there and 1 right there. And then third row passengers obviously get their own cup holders, 1 for the right passenger and 1 for the left passenger. Here are what the keys look like for the 2021 Kia Sorento. I love Kia's design for their keys. These are very nice. I still stand by that this button should be remote start or unlock, but it's lock. Door open and close sound from the outside and from the inside. Is that welcome sound? Pretty solid. Charging game wise, you're working with an awesome amount of 3 USB ports right here. You don't have any USB-C ports in here, and then you have a wireless charger depending on which trim you go for. Second row passengers also enjoy 3 USB ports, 1 right there and 1 right here on the back of the passenger seat and 1 on the back of the driver's seat. Very convenient locations. And then whoever is lucky enough to ride in the third row, you have a USB port on the right and you have a USB port right here on the left. Let's do a quick indicator and horn sound test here on the 2021 Kia Sorento. Indicator first. Pretty Kia, as always. And now for the horn sound. Pretty solid. Very nice. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2021 Kia Sorento, let me give you my opinion on what I think about this 3-row crossover SUV that doesn't need a third row. All right, let's get to it. So yeah, the Kia Sorento that I'm test driving today is the top of the line SX Prestige with the X-Line package. And this one here is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-banger turbo, making 281 horsepower. And this is the same engine that you'll find in the Kia K5 GT, Hyundai Sonata N-Line, and the lower trim levels of the Genesis G80 and the GV80. Now this engine is pretty awesome, but I think it may be way too much power for the Sorento. Nah, I'm just kidding. Whoever complains about having too much power is simply boring, but you do have a 191 horsepower option and a hybrid option if you want to be boring. I've been driving around the new Sorento for about 4 days, and so far it's pretty awesome. As a daily driver, when you're in comfort mode, this thing is pretty smooth, nothing too exciting. Pop it in sport mode and the gauge cluster does that cool animation. The revs go up a little bit higher, the steering wheel gets tighter, and you actually feel a significant difference. It actually becomes a pretty fun to drive SUV, which is probably something nobody ever said about the outgoing Sorento. Besides that useless third row, the only thing I find a little bit hard to digest is the price tag. If you go for the entry-level Kia Sorento, the LX, the S, the EX, it's not so bad, but once you start going for the SX and the SX Prestige, the top of the line models, you're looking at around $40,000. I mean, as tested here, you're looking at over $44,000. I mean, at that point, I would just go for the Telluride EX, which starts at around $37,000, and it comes with leather seats that are heated and cooled. Even the top of the line Telluride SX starts at around $42,000, and that has everything you want and much more. And even the mid-level Telluride S starts at around $34,000, and that comes pretty well equipped as well. I'm not hating on the Sorento, not at all. This is a spectacular SUV for the segment that it's competing in. I think the Sorento is a great option when compared to the Ford Edge, the Nissan Murano, and the Toyota Highlander. I just think the Telluride is a better option for the price. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace. Sorrentoing it up. Put this thing in sport mode and let's go. It's a great, capable, not need to be third row SUV.